Let's go. That's awesome. That's cool. Hey, I'm back at it like a crack addict. I'm back like I never left. Jmafiia420's bitch, and of course we're doing another Jmafiia420's WWE stream. Of course we're doing another WWE stream. Sorry, but we're doing a WWE stream. We're chilling, you know what it is, man. But we're doing a WWE stream. We're chilling, you know what it is, man.
Okay, in the villi of the small intestine, there are special lymphatic vessels called lacteals, whose role is to absorb fat and transport them from the digestive tract to the blood.
I want to show you all this GM shit. One more. I'm back, and I'm better than ever, and I'm better than ever. Alright, let's see who we pick up, yo. Alright, let's see who we pick up. Y'all know what WWE draft is, right? Each GM will start with a budget of $7 million. GMs will take turns drafting one after the other. There will be 11 rounds of drafting. After the 11th round of drafting becomes optional. GMs can opt out or draft until they are out of cash. Tips: if you aren't sure who to pick, don't be afraid to ask for recommendations. You can view each superstar info page for additional stats and perks. Don't forget to save some cash for your show. Don't forget to save some cash for your show. Okay. Pick Cody Rhodes off top. All right. Okay. Yeah, let's take Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch for WCW. Okay, Bayley. Becky Lynch for WCW. Okay, Bayley. Oscar for NXT. Gunther for SmackDown. Bray Wyatt for WCW. Okay, Psycho Clown. All right. Bray Wyatt for WCW. I'll take that. Cruz Del Toro. Damn, that's a good pick. I'll take that. Cruz Del Toro. Logan Paul's a good pick for WCW. Omos, yes, let's go Raw. Wendy Chu, yeah, Omos, yes. Bronson Reed, he can take him. Wendy Chu, yeah, CM Punk's a good pick. Bronson Reed, he can take him. Liv Morgan for Raw. Let's go. Dragon Lee. Liv Morgan for Raw. Akira Tozawa. Dragon Lee. Solo for WCW. Charlotte for the win on Raw. Josh Briggs. Charlotte for the win on Raw. NXT Otis. Josh Briggs. Bianca Belair. NXT Otis. We're just gonna. Bianca Belair. We're just gonna do a random match setting. We're just gonna do a random match. Robot comes up with better matches than we come up with. Robot comes up with better matches than we come up with. That better be my girl. Hey! That better be my girl. That better be my girl. Bro! That better be my girl. I call you for it. You know what I mean?
Okay. Lymphatic vessels. Lymphatic vessels originate as blind end tubes that begin in spaces between cells in most parts of the body. The tubes, which are closed at one end, occur singly or in extensive plexus and are called lymphatic capillaries. These vessels are not found in the central nervous system, red bone marrow, vascular tissue, or portions of the spleen.
Yo, what's good? Let's see what's good with Kid.
The hot honey? Smack.
Yo, we just running this shit right now, yo.
Yo, we just running this shit right now, yo.
Oh, this shit audio outputs. There we go.
Oh, this shit audio outputs. There we go.
There we go.
There we go.
There we go. It's way better.
There we go. It's way better.
Yo, hell, I like this shit. I like the setup on Kick, y'all.
Yo, hell, I like this shit. I like the
setup on Lymphatic capillaries
Go follow me on Kick.
Lymphatic capillaries are much larger and more permeable than blood capillaries. Lymphatic capillaries will eventually unite to form large and larger lymph vessels called lymphatic.
Mr. Live is right now.
Yo, Mr. Live is right now.
In structure, but have thinner walls and are more valves. The larger number of valves helps to ensure that the lymph will not backflow but go in one direction only.
Mr. Live
Along lymphatics are the lymph nodes found in various intervals. Okay, so we have the lymphatic capillaries, and then we go to the lymph nodes, then the lymphatic vessels, and then we are back into the systemic capillary network.
We're
actually
on YouTube, y'all.
Live on everything. Let's go. This shit work, gang.
Then it goes through back into the blood. Okay.
Oh shit.
And then this is a capillary bed.
Oh shit.
So we have our lymph capillaries, and then we have these are our arterials. So in our and then the lymphatic system is kind of interwoven in between it because the blood and the lymph are connected, right? So this is how they transfer fluids. The relationship between lymphatic capillaries and tissue cells and blood vessels. So, let's see. What is this? So, I'm trying to see what this is. Well, this here is your blood vessel. And I'm assuming this is your lymphatic capillary?
I don't know who this shit is.
Anyways, okay. Lymphatics of the skin travel in loose subcutaneous connective tissue and generally follow the routes of veins. Lymphatics of the viscera generally follow the routes of arteries and form plexus along the arteries. Eventually, all the lymphatics of the body coverage into one of two main channels, either the thoracic duct, which is the main collecting channel, also known as the left lymphatic duct or the right lymphatic duct.
Worlds collide?
Erotic duck.
Erotic duck.
So the left lymphatic duct and the thoracic duct, they're like the same thing.
Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio.
And then the right lymphatic duct is one of the two collecting channels or duct of the lymphatic system. Okay, lymph nodes. Lymph nodes are oval to bean-shaped structures found along the length of lymphatics. They are also known as lymph glands. They range in size from 1 to 25 millimeters in length, looking like small seeds or almonds. The three regions of aggregations of nodes in the body are the groin, armpits, and the neck. The lymph nodes contain a slight depression on the side called the hilum, where efferent lymphatic vessels leave and a nodal artery enters and the nodal vein leaves the node. Each lymphatic node or gland is covered by a capsule of fibrous connective tissue that extends into the nodes. These capsular extensions are called trabeculae. The capsular extensions divide the lymph node internally into a series of compartments that contain lymphatic sinuses and lymphatic tissue. Lymphatic vessels that enter the lymph node at various sites are called afferent lymphatic vessels. So lymph nodes, also known as lymph glands, it's not as definition, but perhaps you guys know what lymph nodes are. How would you? So the lymph nodes, they filter the fluid. So go ahead and write this definition for lymph nodes slash. What did it say? Lymph nodes slash lymph. I don't know. We'll see what it said, but just write this definition. Okay. And switch over. Okay, lymph nodes or lymph glands, so they're the same thing. Okay, lymph nodes or the hilum. So they're the same thing. The hilum.
What?
What?
See what they got, yo.
See what they got, yo.
Yo, what's good, Kick? What's good, yo?
Yo, what's good, Kick? What's
Come on,
good, yo?
make me Mr. Number 2, yo.
Come on, make me Mr. Number 2, yo.
Bow down to the Queen, Charlotte Flair, true wrestling royalty.
You can have your opinions, you can have your favorites, but for my money, unequivocally, the GOAT is Charlotte Flair.
She's the first woman to win multiple Royal Rumbles, a highly decorated champion, the inaugural WWE Women's Champion, and that just scratches the surface when it comes to her accolades.
Classy, elegant, confidently strutting down to the ring, Charlotte Flair has her opponent before the bell even rings.
This is efferent lymphatic vessels.
Where's my Twitch not popping?
Where's my Twitch not popping?
Charlotte Flair is the
Okay.
defined by landmark victories. Every time she comes to the ring, Charlotte feels like she will win. Because every fight Charlotte Flair takes part in feels like a main event. Charlotte poised and ready to lay waste to anyone who steps to the throne. Here comes 5 feet of fury, and she's got backup.
There is a dark intent radiating off Little Miss Bliss here tonight. Alexa always has something devious in mind.
Not that that's anything new. Alexa likes to play nice backstage, but there's always a
Okay.
business beneath the surface.
Okay, so this is a cross section of a lymph node. So this is what it looks like on the inside. So we have the nodal vein, the nodal artery. Here's the hilum, and then these are the valves. Remember valves? Valves. They just make sure things go in one direction. So this will only flow. The fluid will only flow one direction. Okay. And then here's the afferent lymphatic vessel, or an afferent vessel. And then if we zoom in microscopically, this is what it would look like. These are like the individual cells. So we have macrophages, we have plasma cells, we have neutrophils, lymphocytes. Yeah. Okay, lymphatic tissue of the node consists of different kinds of lymphocytes and other cells that make up dense aggregations of tissue called cortical or lymphatic nodules.
In the way Liv operates, Cole, she's always keeping her opponents on edge.
And when she sees a flaw, she attacks without mercy. Presence in the women's division.
Okay, the lymph nodules surround the germinal center that produces lymphocytes. Lymphatic sinuses are spaces between these groups of lymphatic tissues. They contain a network of fibers and the macrophage cells. The capsules, trabeculae, and hilum make up the stroma or the framework of the lymph node. So here's this one, germinal center.
Few can contend with the unbridled strength of Raquel Rodriguez. Plenty of hard work maintaining this unbelievable physique.
Okie dokie, lymphatic sinuses.
The WWE Women's Tag Titles has dramatically changed the women's division, and it will continue to do so tonight. Dealing with Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. When you're at the top of the mountain in the tag team division, every other team wants to knock you off of it. That's what this championship match is all about. Placing her in the corner. She turns it around. Look at the reversal.
Okay. Okay, here's a bigger close-up of the internal anatomy of a lymph node. So again, we have our afferent lymphatic vessel, we have these capsules, this is the germinal center, this is the sinus, so it's like the space between cortical nodules, and then this is the hilum, and then this is the efferent lymph vessel, and then these are the trabeculae. As lymph enters the node through the afferent lymphatics, the immune response is activated. Any microorganisms or foreign substances in the lymph stimulate the germinal centers to produce lymphocytes, which are then released into the lymph. Eventually, they reach the blood and produce antibodies against the microorganisms. The macrophages will remove the dead microorganisms and foreign substances by phagocytosis. Okay, lymph circulation. As the plasma of blood is filtered by the blood capillaries, it passes into the interstitial spaces between tissue cells and is now known as interstitial fluid. When this fluid passes from the interstitial spaces into the lymphatic capillaries, it is called lymph. Lymph is primarily water, but it also contains plasma solutes such as ions, gases, nutrients, and some proteins and substances from tissue cells such as hormones, enzymes, and waste products. The lymph, drained by the lymphatic capillaries and the lymphatic plexuses, is then passed to the lymphatic vessels that have a beaded appearance due to the one-way valves and prevents backflow movement. The lymphatics head toward lymph nodes. The lymphatics head toward lymph nodes. At the lymph node, afferent vessels penetrate the capsules at various positions on the node, and the lymph passes through the sinuses of the nodes. In the node, antigenic microorganisms, foreign substances, or cancer cells stimulate lymphocytes to divide, and this immune response is activated. Macrophages phagocytize the attacked foreign substances. Efferent vessels leave nodes and pass on to other lymph nodes by either going with other afferent vessels into another node of the same group, or passing on to another group of nodes. The efferent vessels will eventually unite and form lymphatic trunks. Here's that definition.
All this is green. You put this into how do you know? We need air circulation in here. It's bad.
The circulation of lymph through the various lymphatic vessels is maintained by normal skeletal muscle contractions. This action compresses the lymphatic vessels, and because those vessels have one-way valves, the compression forces the lymph in one direction toward the subclavian veins. So basically, when you're walking around, doing any movements, picking things up, obviously your muscles, they're contracting, right? So the contraction of these muscles kind of like squeezes the lymph vessels, and then that's how the lymphatic system moves things around, right? Obviously it has like a flow, but the compression forces the lymph in one direction toward the subclavian vein. So this is why they tell you, like, you guys gotta get up, you can't just be like laying down all day, it's not good for your circulation, like, you gotta move your body, you know? Normal movement helps circulate the lymph. Another factor in lymph circulation is respiratory or breathing movement, which causes pressure changes in the thorax. Finally, small, smooth muscle contraction in the lymphatic vessels also pushes lymph along. However, if lymphatics become obstructed by blockage, then an excessive amount of interstitial fluid will develop in tissue spaces and result in swelling or edema. Eventually, the efferent lymphatic vessels unite to form lymphatic trunks. The principal lymphatic trunk of the body are the lumbar trunk, the intestinal trunk, the trunk, intercostal trunk, subclavian trunk, and jugular trunk. So this is the lumbar trunk. Okay. Here is your intestinal tract. Okie dokie. Mediastinal tract. Okay. Intercostal trunk. Okay, subclavian, or how do you say it? Subclavian, yeah. Subclavian, whatever. And then jugular trunk. here are just all the trunks. So we have our jugular trunk, which would be under jugular. We have our brachiocephalic trunk. Oh, I know. I lied to you. The vein. Then we have our subclavian trunk, our intestinal trunk, our lumbar trunk, our intercostal. Your ribs are called, like, costal means like ribs. So intercostal is like the in between your ribs. So like an intercostal space is just the spaces in between your ribs. Okay, so intercostal, that just is your rib area. Lumbar is your lower back. Intestinal, your intestines. Thoracic, your thorax. This is your brachiomedial trunk. Yeah. And then, yeah. Okay. The lumbar trunk drains lymph from the lower extremities, the walls and viscera of the pelvis, the kidneys and adrenal glands, and most of the abdominal wall. The intestinal trunk drains lymph from the stomach, intestines, pancreas, spleen, and the surface of the liver. The bronchomedicinal trunk drains the thorax, lungs, heart, diaphragm, and the rest of the liver. The intercostal trunk helps drain lymph from the portions of the thorax. The subclavian trunk drains the upper extremities, that is, arms, hands, and fingers. Finally, the jugular trunk drains the head and neck. These principal trunks now pass their lymph into two main channels: the thoracic duct, which is the main collecting duct of the system and is also known as the left lymphatic duct, and the right lymphatic duct. Ultimately, the thoracic duct empties all of its lymph into the left subclavian vein, and the right lymphatic duct empties all of its lymph into the right subclavian vein. Clavian, whatever. So the journey of the lymph is now complete. The lymph is drained back into the blood where it originally came from, and the cycle completes itself. This circulation repeats itself continuously, thus maintaining the proper levels of lymph, plasma, and interstitial fluid in the body. Okay, so we have our right lymphatic duct and our left lymphatic duct. So those are the two main ones. Okay, common diseases, disorders, or conditions. Elephantiasis. Whatever. In Africa, a bite of a mosquito can transmit a microscopic flareal nematode worm. Ew. When I was in my biology class, I had to see a lot of worms, and a nematode worm is grody. Known as a Wisheria bancrofti. This nematode worm lives in lymphatics and lymph nodes, where it reproduces and multiplies. So it's essentially a parasite that lives in your lymph nodes, if you have it. After many years of continuous reinfections, the lymphatic system gets blocked, resulting in tremendous swelling of the arms or legs. This swelling or edema results in a condition called elephantiasis. In addition to the limbs, the scrotum can be affected, resulting in an almost basketball-like swelling of the scrotum or testicles. Yikes. The disease also occurs in Malaysia, but is caused by another nematode worm known as Bergaria malayi, whatever. In that part of the world, only the limbs show the characteristic swelling of the disease. Is there a picture of it? No? Well, then I'll show you. Stop it. What? It's literally, I just want this. Okay, cool. So that's literally not what it said. Okay. Oh my gosh! I love my computer. It actually is. Because... like, show me a picture. Girl. There we go. Okay, yeah, so extreme swelling, as you can see. Not a fun time. Doesn't that look painful? Whoa. That might be it. Yeah. Not a fun time, okay? So, do not get bit by a mosquito in Africa. Okay. The organs of the lymphatic system. Wait, is this the right page? Yes, it is. Okay. The lymphatic system has 4 organs: the tonsils, spleen, thymus glands, and Peyer's patches. Tonsils are masses of lymphoid tissue embedded in mucous membrane. There are 3 groups of tonsils. The palatine tonsils are the ones commonly removed in a tonsillectomy. They are located in the tonsillar fossa between the pharyngeal palatine and the glossal palatine arches on each side of the posterior opening of the oral cavity. So you guys can write that down. Okay, the pharyngeal, wait, where was I? Yeah, the pharyngeal tonsils, also known as the adenoids, they are located close to the internal opening of the nasal cavity. When they become swollen, they can interfere with breathing. So, okay, so these are just synonymous. The lingual tonsils are located on the back surface of the tongue at its base. In these positions, the tonsils form a protective ring of reticuloendothelial cells against harmful microorganisms that might enter the nose or oral cavity. Occasionally, they become chronically infected and need to be removed. However, this operation is not as common as it once was because of the understanding of how important these organs are in protecting the body and as being part of the immune system. Tonsils are more functional in children. As we age, the tonsils decrease in size and may even disappear in some individuals. The spleen. The spleen is oval in shape and is the single largest mass of lymphatic tissue in the body. It measures about 12 centimeters or 5 inches in length. It is found in the left upper corner of the abdominal cavity. It filters blood via the splenic artery and the splenic vein, which enter the spleen at a slightly concave border called the hilum. The spleen phagocytizes bacteria and worn-out platelets of red blood cells. This action releases hemoglobin to be recycled. It also produces lymphocytes and plasma cells. The spleen stores blood and functions as a blood reservoir. During a hemorrhage, the spleen releases blood into the blood circulation route. Serious injuries to the spleen may require its removal. Okie dokie, so this is what your spleen looks like for those of you who are wondering. Your spleen is on your left side, so like your upper left, kind of like under your boob-ish, kind of, that kind of general area. You only have one spleen, of course. The thymus gland is bilobed. I don't even know what that means. Massive tissue located in the mediastinum. Mediastinum. Along the trachea behind the sternum. Its role in the endocrine system was discussed in chapter 12. It reaches maximum size during puberty and then decreases. In older individuals, the thymus becomes small and is difficult to detect because it is replaced with fat and connective tissue. It is involved in immunity. The thymus is a site for lymphocyte production and maturation. The thymus helps develop T lymphocytes in the fetus and in infants for a few months after birth. A number of its lymphocytes degenerate, but those that mature leave the thymus and enter the blood to travel to other lymphatic tissues where they and their descendants protect against foreign substances and harmful microorganisms. Peyer's patches, also known as aggregated lymphatic follicles, are found in the wall of the small intestine. They resemble tonsils. Their macrophages destroy bacteria. Bacteria are always present in large numbers in the intestine, and the macrophages prevent the bacteria from infecting and penetrating the walls of the intestine. Okay. The variform appendix is also involved in immunity. After birth, lymphoid tissue begins to develop in the appendix, reaching peak amounts around age 25. The appendix assists in the maturing of B lymphocytes and produces immunoglobulin A, which is IgA, antibodies. The lymphoid tissue of the appendix decreases in amount around the age of 40 years old. Okay, immunity. Immunity is the ability of the body to resist infection from disease-causing microorganisms or pathogens, damage from foreign substances, and harmful chemicals. You guys can write this down.
To be messed with. An absolute force of nature. We are looking at a confident, angry, malicious Nigerian giant. It is scary how Ross only gets better and more dangerous with each match.
Okie dokie. Humoral immunity and cellular immunity are the result of the body's lymphoid tissues. The bulk of our lymphoid tissues is located in the lymph nodes. However, as mentioned, it is also found in the spleen and tonsils and the small intestine in Peyer's patches. And to a lesser extent, in red bone marrow. This lymphoid tissue consists primarily of lymphocytes and can be categorized into two broad groups of cells, the B lymphocytes and the T lymphocytes. So here's humoral immunity. And the same thing for cellular immunity, they're the same definition. Okey-dokey.
Very successful competitor around here.
The B lymphocytes are the cells that produce antibodies and they provide humoral immunity. This type of immunity is particularly effective against circulating bacterial and viral infections. The B cells produce the circulating antibodies that attack the invading agent. B lymphocytes that enter tissues become specialized cells called plasma cells.
Finn Balor is never someone you want to underestimate in any way.
In the building. It's time for everyone to stand up and take notice. There's a lot of pride that comes with being a member of the LWO. Each and every one of these members are mighty proud of what they're a part of. And that pride translates into their top-level performance in the ring.
The T lymphocytes are responsible for providing cellular immunity. These cells come from the thymus gland, where immunologic competence is conferred on the T lymphocytes around birth. This type of immunity is particularly effective against fungi, parasites, intracellular, which means inside the cell, intracellular viral infections, cancer cells, and foreign tissue implants.
Baby, what are you doing? Are you gonna eat?
Yeah, I want some Kool-Aid too. What? Nigga?
Antigens and antibodies. Antigens are foreign proteins that gain access to our bodies via cuts and scrapes through the respiratory system, through the digestive and circulatory system, or through the urinary and reproductive system. They cause the immune system to produce high molecular weight proteins called antibodies or immunoglobulins that destroy the foreign invaders. So the antigens are essentially the foreign invaders, and then the antibodies, they kill the foreign invaders. So antibodies kill the antigens. Okay, and then antibodies. Okie dokie. These foreign proteins can be the flagella or cell membranes of protozoans, the flagella or cell membrane of bacteria, the protein coat of a virus, or the surface of fungal spores. The B lymphocyte and the plasma cell recognize these antigens and produce antibodies that bind with the specific antigen. This binding causes the foreign cells to agglutinate, which means stick together, and precipitate within the circulatory system of tissues. Then the phagocytic white blood cells, like neutrophils and macrophages, come along and eat them up by phagocytosis, eliminating them from the body. Thus, we have an internal defense system to protect us from foreign microbes. Antibodies are formed in response to an enormous number of antigens. Antibodies have a basic structure consisting of 4 amino acid chains linked together by disulfide bonds. 2 of the chains are identical with about 400 amino acids and are called the heavy chains. The other 2 chains are half as long, identical, and are called the light chains. When united, the antibody molecule is made of 2 identical halves, each with a heavy and light chain. The molecule has a Y shape, and the tips of the Y are antigen binding sites. The binding sites varies, thus allowing the antibody to bind with the enormous number of antigens. The stem of the Y is always constant. So this is what they mean. It looks like a Y. Okay, there are 4 types of antibodies make up the gamma globins of plasma proteins. So we have immunoglobulin G, which is Ig, is found in tissue fluid and plasma. It attacks viruses, bacteria, and toxins. It also activates complement, a set of enzymes that attack foreign antigens. Okay, immunoglobulin A is found in exocrine gland secretions, nasal fluid, tears, gastric and intestinal juice, bile, breast milk, and urine. Immunoglobulin M develops in blood plasma as a response in bacteria or antigens in food. Okie dokie. Immunoglobulin D is found on the surface of B lymphocytes and is important in B cell activation. Immunoglobulin E is also found in the excrement glands secretions and is associated with allergic reactions, attacking allergy-causing antigens. The most abundant antibodies are IgG, IgA, and IgM. Okie dokie. When B lymphocytes come in contact with antigens and produce antibodies against them, this is called active immunity.
I'm gonna do a Walmart order for tomorrow. You hear me?
No.
Okey-dokey. Yeah, it can be acquired naturally as when we are exposed to a bacterial or viral infection, or it can be acquired artificially as when we receive a vaccine. A vaccine contains either killed pathogens or live but very weak pathogens. It does not matter whether the antigen is introduced to the body on its own or through a vaccine, the immune response is the same. The advantage of vaccines is that we do not experience the major symptoms of the disease, which would occur in the primary response to the pathogen, and the weakened antigen stimulates antibody production and immunologic memory. Future exposure, it keeps us immune to the pathogen. Vaccines are currently available against measles, smallpox, polio, tetanus, chickenpox, pneumonia, diphtheria, and various strains of flu. Passive immunity can be conferred naturally when a fetus receives its mother's antibodies through the placenta and they become part of the fetal circulatory route. This immunity lasts for several months after birth. Passive immunity can be conferred artificially by receiving gamma globin, breast milk, or immune serum. This is used after exposure to hepatitis. These donated antibodies provide immediate protection, but it only lasts 2 to 3 weeks. Other immune serums include antivenom for snake bites or botulism and rabies serum. Here's that definition.
Remember, the LWO isn't going to let this setback keep them down long.
Chapter? What chapter is this? This is 15. Okay, thank you. Right? Yeah, it's 15. Okay. Like the B lymphocytes, T lymphocytes are activated to form clones by binding with an antigen. But T cells are not able to bind with free antigens. The antigens must first be engulfed by macrophages, processed internally, and then displayed on their surface to the T cells. Thus, antigen presentation is a major role for macrophages and is absolutely necessary for activation of clonal response of the T cells. Cells of the immune response and other defenses. The lymphocytes of the body are the precursors of a whole range of cells that are involved in the immune response. The following is a list of those cells and their functions. So B cells are lymphocytes found in the lymph nodes, spleen, and other lymphoid tissue where they replicate, introduced by antigen binding activity. activities. Yeah. Their clones or pre-Jenny form plasma cells and memory cells. So you guys can write this.
McDonough is capable of such intense and in-your-face offense. Of course he has an in-your-face offense. Look at the size of his head. Oh, would you stop, Cole? That doesn't bother McDonough. He's already hardened by the United Kingdom independent scene. Did we bring Big Headbone back? Enough already!
Okay. Plasma cells are formed by replicating B cells that enter tissue and produce huge numbers of the same antibody or immunoglobulin. You guys can write this one, and when you're done with it, you guys can go on break, okay?
She wanted double chicken, extra fat cream. So I give them what they asked for.
Somebody got bed bugs. What if they feet stink? Yeah, then the movie's over with.
You were T-Bone.
I had a job the whole time I was free. I worked at Europe, and I'm a barber. I do tattoos, and I make clothes. This is the toy that we gotta use when we outside. Once they pop inside our door, like they'll unlock it sometimes. But man, we gotta use this bathroom. This bathroom for the whole pump. Now all these people right now in these chairs, they don't walk down right now. We gotta come out by tears. Top chairs out right now. That's all. Top chairs out right now. All the chairs I had a job the whole time I was free.
Why don't this thing get bigger? Why don't you just pack it up? Here's how to grow your audience with zero.
Get this powerful over.
Straight squash match.